Freddie Mercury chose to sing at this benefit concert for the famine in Ethiopia, which was so devastating to so many people. And when you look at that crowd, 75,000 people, they're all there with these incredibly open hearts, singing right along with him and reminding us that we love each other, that it's all about love. Of course, this particular song is a love song that's about a broken heart, but I want to ask you, how many times has a broken heart allowed you to wake up? How many times has that crack in your heart really opened you up to what comes next for whatever reason or for whatever's going on in your life? This idea that the Sufis talk about, that God enters through the broken heart. That's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea. So this felt resonance of heart energy, I think, is very powerful in this particular song. I love it. And so this whole month, we've been focusing on conscious love. This idea, how do we cultivate the capacity to love without reservation? To love anyway, to love without an agenda. I'll love you if, only, when. To love without any sort of, criteria. That's a biggie. That is a biggie. And I love what the lyrics of this song say. When it's all said and done, I'll be there to remind you that I love you. I'll be there to remind you that I love you. And so we've worked many times with Catherine Ingram's book, Passionate Presence. I know for some of you it's a favorite book. But she says, and I believe this is so true, to live in majesty is to live fully with a broken heart. Because if we aren't at least partially sad in witnessing the world and our life experience, then we're just not paying attention. We're just not paying attention. And that's what the awakened heart is about. It's about paying attention to everything, to all of it. Because like Glenda said in her opening reading, the circumstances of life can have a tendency to harden us. Isn't that the truth? You know why they harden us? Because we don't want to get hurt anymore. We put those barriers up, those protective shields, that armor to keep the hurt out, right? And so when we've gone through enough stuff in our life experience, sometimes that hardness around our heart and around our whole self is so thick, it's impenetrable. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. This idea that we really can function in everyday life, even though some things might break our heart, because that can wake us up so that we can live more fully in our day-to-day existence. Because if we don't do that, if we stay hardened, if we stay protected, we're probably going to stay angry. We're probably going to stay afraid. We're probably going to stay resentful. And so this capacity to soften up, to soften that part of us. See, we have a choice. We can either go through life defended and protected, or we can go through life vulnerable and trusting and allow life to touch us. Allow life to touch us. And embrace, like Linda said, embrace what scares us. Embrace the stuff of life that we're going through. Embrace the stuff like the Ethiopian famine or whatever is getting our attention in the moment. And through that, live a kinder, more gentle, more loving experience of our soul's journey. That's what it's all about. And when we can actually extend our heart space, wake up enough to allow our heart to hold all of it, both and, the brokenness and the awakeness, the beauty and the not so beautiful, the sadness and the joy. When we can actually expand our heart enough and put down those barriers enough that we can open to the paradoxes of life, everything in our life experience changes. And that's the truth. Those of you who have had a glimpse of that. Now, I'm not saying that it is a place where we stabilize. Most of us are going to be like this with these things. Up and down, up and down, up and down. We're going to have to work at it, you see. But it is possible. Because sometimes what happens when life starts throwing junk at us, our health, our relationships, people die, people get sick, you know, work doesn't work out right, our bank accounts are frightening, whatever, you know, our bodies start goofing up, they get older and they're not cooperating, whatever that looks like. Whatever it is, what happens is when all this stuff starts showing up and we're not able to soften enough to embrace it and allow it to be as it is, then we go through life just with this real hardness about us, this resentfulness about us, see? So we actually can, no matter what's going on, we can live from that quiet place in our heart. We don't have to live life paralyzed. We don't have to live life frozen. We don't have to live life hoping that we can get home really quick and put our heads under the covers. We don't have to live life in that way. We can actually live fully engaged and helping to sing the song like the people in that video. We can embrace all of it when we're willing to soften. We don't have to go through life flatlining and gray. We can experience all of it, the joy and the sadness, with great passion. I love what Deepak Chopra says. Deepak Chopra says the purpose of our whole life journey is not to simply survive and get through it. The purpose of our experience as human beings, knowing our divinity, is to, I love this, express every grain of passion that love inspires in us. Is to live fully, all of it, even if it looks, you know, like sadness and tears. That's okay. Those feelings are valid. A lot of stuff in life is worth crying about. We don't let it paralyze us. We don't let it harden us. But these things that happen in our day-to-day living, they just are what they are. And the capacity to embrace that is the difference between, you know, going through life with a real difficult journey and going through life with an easier path. Let the difficulties, the problems, whatever it is, I was going through, what could those be? And I found a bunch of D words. Death, divorce, disaster, disappointments, disease, a bunch of D words, right? We've all experienced some version of most of those things, right? Go through the difficulties of life, however they show up, and allow that to awaken us. Allow that to be the raw material that takes us to the next level of our soul's growth. That's what it's all about. The next level of our capacity to live at a passionate, engaged level with life as it is. See, the thing is, when we're guarded and we're hardened, we're not accepting life as it is. We want it to be different. We want things to be different than they are. Yes, yes. So what gets in the way? Well, what gets in the way are our habits. The things that we're so used to practicing on a regular basis that keep our hearts closed. It's that unfinished business. Some of it, we were talking about this on our Eckhart Tolle class, some of it is completely unconscious. And when it gets our attention is when it gets pushed, when the trigger gets pushed, when that button, and we talked about the button that has that magnetic force that says push me. When that happens, when those habits get pushed, all of a sudden things get our attention. Those unfinished places in our life experience get our attention, and we recognize within ourselves the reason why we've got the barriers, the reason why we're hardened to life, the reason why we show up with this sort of holding on as if, you know, we could hold on to anything, really. Why we show up with anger, with pride, with arrogance, with all these fears, with these doubts about our experience as human beings, with this sort of restlessness. In program, we're restless and discontent. This restlessness of soul, you see. These protective walls, that's my belief, that's my box, and I'm going to stick to it. Those are my opinions, and I'm not going to, you know, look at anything else. I'm going to stay here because it's safe. Behind this wall, behind this armor, because it's safe, and I'm not going to let you hurt me. I'm not going to let life touch me. I'm not going to be, you know, let that crack in my heart open enough to allow anything in because I just might suffer a little bit. That's what we do That's what we do. I loved, Glenda and I must have referred to the same material because she's talking about the soft spot. The soft spot. The awakened heart is the soft spot. And guess what? This is the good news. This is the good news. We've all got that soft spot. All of us. We have an innate ability. We all have an innate capacity to come from that place of love, that place of awakeness, that place that isn't afraid, that place that allows life to be as life is, the place that remembers the truth of our walk in the world, our divinity. We've all got that within us. We came with it. We are that. We were born with the original perfection of that. We just forget. We just forget in the complexity of our human walk in the world. So this soft spot that we've all got is the ability to love anyway, the ability to embrace it, the ability to drop the armor, let it fall on the floor, and be vulnerable. Does it always feel good? Probably not. Is it always something we want to look at? Probably not. If you've seen pictures, as an example of the opening song of the famine in Ethiopia, it's very hard to embrace. But we do what we can do. We do our part. We do what we can do. We show up, and the most important thing is we be loving through it. We be the love, that awakened heart in the experience, whatever it is that we're going through. Because if we do that, there's an incredible freedom. There's a freedom that allows us to be totally present, totally loving, totally embracing within all the stuff, the changing conditions of life. It's not, you see, when we have an awakened heart, it's not dependent on anything. It doesn't have to look a certain way. We just are there, like Linda said, we are the Bodhisattva. Those of you who were part of the Bodhisattva group, we're just there with the willingness to be fully present, awake, and engaged with whatever that experience. This is the work of our soul's journey. This is absolutely the work of our soul's journey. To blossom, to unfold into this experience. Nothing in particular is needed. This kind of love is not needy. This kind of love knows how to love, whether it's reciprocated or not. This kind of love knows, this awakened heart knows how to be present in a way that supports and uplifts whatever the experience is. This kind of heart knows how to embrace life. See, it's instinctively loving energy. It's a generosity of spirit. All of these are qualities of the divine, and we've all got every single quality of the divine within us as a natural aspect of who we are. We just don't remember. We just forget to live it. That's all. We just forget to live it. And so when we have this awakened heart, we can have passion for life as it is, no matter what we're going through. No matter what we're going through. No matter what shows up in the world, we can have this incredible passion just for the experience of life itself. I don't know if you noticed or if you were aware or maybe even resonate with the song that Robert played before the meditation, Annie's song. That's the passion we're talking about. You fill up my senses. See, the poets, the artists, the songwriters, the musicians, creative people, and we are that, know the passion of embracing the fullness and richness of life. That's just the way it is. You fill up my senses. I'm awake to life as it is. And this is what I love. One of the authors that we are working with this month says, a truly awakened heart has no agenda, it's not complicated, and it puts others at ease. And so this brings me to a story that is in Catherine England's book about the Dalai Lama. She was invited to participate in a gathering in India of about 20 people. Dalai Lama was one of them. And the room was full of professionals, all these very intelligent people that have been gathered for this purpose. There were doctors, there were therapists, there were behavioral therapists, there were sociologists, there were all these different people with all of this incredible knowledge. And of course, the Dalai Lama. And all of these people had been invited to this gathering to observe a 5-year-old boy. And this 5-year-old boy demonstrated the attributes and characteristics of a puppy. He had been found all alone, wandering in the streets of India, and he couldn't speak. He did not walk upright. He crawled on all fours. He did not use his hands to eat. And all of his mannerisms were very puppy-ish. He was like a little puppy. And so here this frightened little 5-year-old boy on all fours is in this lofty gathering of all of these very intelligent people who are trying to figure out how to fix him. What do we do? So the behavior therapists are saying, well, we've tried this, it's not working. We've tried this, it's not working. The speech therapist can't get him to form a word. All of the very intelligent people, right? And this poor little child has darting little eyes like a frightened little animal, and he's just, watching all of this going on and hearing all of this language going on that he doesn't understand, and he's terrified. And so the Dalai Lama said, bring me that boy. So they brought the little boy over to the Dalai Lama, and they were still all talking and presenting to the Dalai Lama the dilemma of this little boy. How are we going to fix him? The Dalai Lama began stroking the little boy's head, stroking his shoulders, softly talking to him, comforting him, soothing him. Nothing complicated. No agenda, didn't want to fix a darn thing. Totally immersed in the energy of the awakened heart, loving this child. And you know what happened? This frightened little puppy boy curled up right at the Dalai Lama's feet and went to sleep. This is what the awakened heart knows how to do. This is how we can treat our experiences of life. We get so caught up in how do we fix this? How do we make this better? And if we could just touch into that part of us, sure, we recognize, I am certain that 20 people in that room had broken hearts seeing the plight of this little child. And the one with the awakened heart knew what to do to bring comfort, to bring love to the experience, you see. The truly awakened heart knows the language of love, knows how to be present in a way that supports it all. Think about your own life experience, the times when you have felt really connected with another being or even with yourself. Think about what that looked like. It was about an openness, I'll bet. It was about no agenda, just full presence. Being present, those of you who do energy work know all about this being present for each other. A truly awakened heart has no agenda, it's uncomplicated, and it puts others to ease. Now, what I know is, anybody love the book, The Little Prince? It's one of my very favorite books. What I know is you cannot come from this place from the mind, like Linda says. You got to drop into the heart. The Little Prince has a very famous statement that you see everywhere. It says, it's only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. So it's this heart energy that knows. It is this heart energy that feels. It is this heart energy that wakes up and knows what to do. It's that. So the invitation, as I was walking in this morning, I chatted with someone for just a few seconds, and as we were looking at the handout today with the assignment for the week, what are some of the difficulties or problems that you've encountered in your life that have been the raw material for your journey? This is your invitation. Use whatever that is or has been. Maybe you're just now discovering some hidden area in your life experience that's been a trigger for you for 60 years and you didn't even know about it. Whatever that is, use that to help open your heart. Try to come at it from an undefended place. Use that. Be brave, be vulnerable enough to find that soft spot within you that helps you lay down your armor so that you can come out of this box that you've built around yourself to protect yourself from all of the things you're afraid of in life that might, hurt. Let that go just long enough so that you can actually see with the eyes of the heart. And I tell you what, when you can come from that place, new solutions, creative ideas pop up. Because you're not stuck in the, labyrinth of the mind, spinning it around, trying to figure it out, like those professionals in that room with that child. Take the opportunity to live what Deepak Chopra says. Express every grain of passion that love inspires in you, so that you can actually love life itself. And you know what? Love the life you're living. Love the life you're living. Don't want it to be a different life. Don't want it to be somebody else's life or some life that you had in the past. I always refer to my other life. First marriages often do that. My other life. No. Now, this moment, this is where the passion is. It's nowhere else. It's a moment-to-moment experience. And then remember, in order to live fully in life, we've got to have the capacity to embrace it all, the paradox of life. To live with an awakened heart, we've got to be willing to let the brokenness in, to see it. Because if we don't, you know what? We're just not paying attention. We're just not paying attention. So David, let's wrap it up with a little bit of Freddie Mercury. So that's what we're called to do. We're called to love each other, to be present in the world as love itself. Thank you for listening this morning.